Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Noelle and I review and unbox subscription boxes here on my channel, and today I have a fun book box to share with you. It was not sent to me for a review, but I am a subscriber. I usually do 3 months at a time. What I really appreciate about Once Upon a Book Club is they have a variety of genres that they cover. They also have different subscriptions. So they have an adult box, which is what I get. They also have a young adult box, and they have, I think instead of calling it a middle grader box, now they're calling it a tween box. But with all of them, the fun part comes along with reading the book. There are little sticky notes on certain pages that then guide you to the corresponding gifts. And the whole idea is to bring the story to life. I always thought this was a really cool concept. There are several subscriptions out there that do it, but they have been around, I think, probably for the longest, and so now they are big enough that they can actually create their own gifts for the box, which sometimes is more successful than others, but it also is just really, really fun to see how they're going to interpret and what items they're going to have as sort of touchstones in the novel. Now, usually I pay attention to the spoilers or the hints, as they call them, and if it looks like it's going to be a romance, which is not usually my thing, I will usually have them skip the box for me. I did not, because the June box, I just thought that the premise of it sounded really, really cool, and it was a romance. It wasn't too spicy and saucy for me, which I appreciated, but it was a fun concept, and it was perfect for a light summer read. So the box itself is $49.99. That does include your domestic shipping. I do have an affiliate link and code for you. Really, it just gets me some referral credit so that I can continue to subscribe to the channel, or to the channel. I want you to subscribe to my channel, but it's so that I can continue to subscribe to Once Upon a Book Club. But basically, using Noel 10 will get you 10% off. I'll leave all of those details for you in the description box below, along with this big box that is always just sized to fit whatever the contents are, kind of fashioned to look like a book. I know there are a lot of people who have not just a TBR pile of books, but a TBR pile of Once Upon a Book Club boxes. So it can look kind of cute when you have a bunch of different sized ones all stacked up. The adult boxes are always, though, in this hot pink, which I kind of wish they would change that up. They also have all kinds of limited edition boxes, holiday boxes. We are actually using their summer limited edition box as our second book club read for the Book Nook, which is the book club that we run through our private Facebook group, the Nobot Nook. I say second read, but we still haven't done our first read because of some delays with another subscription. But I do have faith that we will probably read at least 2 to 3 books this year, and then hopefully next year we'll be back to our quarterly cadence. So if you're ever interested in joining us for that, you can definitely find the Nobot Nook in the description box below. I'll leave the link for you. So along with the box, you will get usually a guide that goes along with it. So let me open up my box here. Now, usually this guide comes in a little like plastic wrap, but this is the Stranger Than Fiction book box, so they don't tell you the title. You can find out the title on the website now, but some people like to be surprised. There's usually a conversation with the author. They do have the gifts, the page numbers listed here, as well as discussion questions. And then on the back page, they usually have something fun that just sort of is within the theme of the book. So in this case, they have a recipe for honey surprise. So it's some pancakes basically that use honey. It sounded way too sweet in the book for me, but I did this. It was definitely a book story for those who love books. As much as I'm not a romance gal, I appreciate it. I thought it was cute. So the book in question was A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. So you get that little reading guide as well as a 5x7 quote print. People love these. They collect them. And on the back, we actually have a note from the author, which I haven't read, so I might read it with you. But the quote is, "I needed to get lost in a book more than I needed anything else." And we have, this is always nice, and also the power of a larger subscription. Being able to work with publishers, being able to work with authors. We got a nice signed book plate and kind of stylized to match our paperback. We usually get paperbacks, honestly, with 180-degree box. Woo! It's been a long day, you guys. With Once Upon a Book Club. We do sometimes get hardcovers, but usually it's a paperback, I would say, usually. But they have, speaking of collectibles, they do have a bookmark as well that has the matching quote on it. Speaking of collectibles, so people like to collect these, but they also are starting to collect these fun stickers. So you could put them on your water bottle, and I'm sure there's probably going to be some merch in the Once Upon a Book Club store as well, so that you could put all of these little hexagons to commemorate your reading. So we had 3 gifts this time around. I will just briefly share them with you, and then I will be reading the passages that go along with the gifts. Really, there are no major spoilers, but it's a romance, so do you need spoilers? But this is what they look like. They have everything all branded and matching, right? So all the same color palette to go along with. They've had the page numbers printed on there. Really nice box. So that was our page 41 gift. We also got this big one, and this is the reason that this particular box this time around is so long. So again, it's kind of impressive that they're now having boxes printed and designed just to go along with the contents of each box. This one has this lovely wrapping paper, and they actually printed the page number on the wrapping paper. So I don't know how or where they're doing this, but it's pretty darn impressive. It's on daffodil wrapping paper because there's a daffodil hotel. So lots of little touches, little details that they get right, which I'm very impressed by. That's the page 162 gift, and then finally we have a page 215 gift. So let me go ahead and read the blurb on the back for you. We'll go through the passages, and if I have time, I will read our note from Ashley, the author. Love is stranger than fiction. So true. I once had a little love story that I thought was movie worthy, except for the sad ending. Eileen, or Elsie Merriweather, loves to get lost in a good happily ever after. The fictional kind, anyway, because at least imaginary men don't leave you at the altar. She feels safe in stories, at home in books, which might be why she's so set on going to her book club's annual retreat this year. She needs good friends, cheap wine, and grand romantic gestures, no matter what. When her cart unexpectedly breaks down on the way, she finds herself stranded in a quaint town that seems like it's right out of a novel. Because it is. This place can't be real, and yet she's here, in Alorton, the town from her favorite romance series, where the candy store's honey taffy is always sweet, the local bar's burgers are always a little burnt, and rain always comes in the afternoon. It feels like home. It's perfect and perfectly frozen, trapped in the late author's last unfinished story. Elsie is sure that must be why she's here, to help bring the town to its storybook ending. Except there's a character in Alorton whom she can't place, a grumpy bookstore owner with mint green eyes, an irritatingly sexy mouth, and impeccable taste in novels, and he does not want her finishing this book. Which is a problem, because Elsie is beginning to think the town's happily ever after just might be intertwined with her own. So the classic grumpy bookstore owner, she's an English teacher who just romances are kind of her guilty pleasure. Yes, she's been jilted, and she has a best friend, and she's got this kind of collection of other romance novel lovers who are all obsessed about this author and the book that never got written. So she stumbles upon this magical land where it's kind of interesting because anything that didn't get quite written in, or discarded characters, there's like a graveyard for discarded characters, or like the menus, you can't actually read the menus because those actually weren't completely thought out. So it was just a fun concept, I thought, even though it was wrapped up in a romance. All right, you guys, page 41 was our first one, and this is what the sticky notes look like. So again, no major spoilers. In fact, the gifts this time around, I thought they were decent. I haven't actually looked at one of them in detail, but they're kind of more useful gifts, which is great. Like in the last box, I really liked the salt and pepper shakers and the oil jug, but you know, you have to go watch that one because that was a pretty good one. It wasn't my favorite curation in terms of gifts, but it wasn't bad either. All right, let's see. I hadn't heard anything at all, but I knew everything was true because I realized where I'd seen her before. Well, seen wasn't exactly the right word for it. My mouth opened and closed like a goldfish gasping for water, because surely it was a coincidence. Surely it was. A ginger-haired woman named Lissa with a Y, tending to a garden shop in a small town. Surely she hadn't threatened to bury a man when she'd caught him cheating on her sister. Surely it was a fluke. The song on the radio ended and the DJ came on with "Buzz, buzz, Alorton, hope you're kicking serious beehive butt on this glorious Saturday morning." That was the hit single from Dexy's Midnight Runners, "Come on Eileen." So it's like one of those moments where first she's like, oh, maybe this was like the town that the books were based on and I just happened to stumble. And then you're like, oh no, I'm actually in it. I'm actually in the town of the stories that I love so much. And so you're like, uh-oh. But it's almost like time travel, right? It's like you don't mess with things. Don't mess with their happy little closed book, happy ending lives. So here we go, page 41. We have umbrellas on there because, yes, like it said in the blurb, it rains every day at the same time. And we know something's happening when it stops raining every day at the same time. So buzz, buzz, Alorton. It is a Bluetooth radio speaker. Now, we've gotten one of these before, probably a few years ago, honestly. So here's our, of course, we have our charger. We also have like an aux cable, which is kind of nice. But I will say this one is really pretty. So it just came in this nice little box. It does have a little bag. I thought it was a pretty kind of like vintage vibe because that's, I mean, that is kind of the vibes you get from this town. It's so small town and, you know, they're like giving each other honey pancakes and stuff that it almost feels like it should be retro and vintage. But look how cute this little radio is. So I was confused at first. I didn't see the card and I was like, what is this little bouncy thing? But I think that's the speaker. And then this, I think you can slide this little faux leather thing up to use as a handle. I think it's longer. Yeah. So you can use this as a handle, but otherwise it slides down. So super cute, right? It's got up, down for, I'm guessing, volume. And then you just have this dial. So these are all the ways you can plug in. There's the aux cable. And then you would just attach it to your Bluetooth speaker. So let's see if I can get it to turn on. There we go. So
Bluetooth mode.
See? So that's how these work. There are not a lot of bells and whistles, not a lot of buttons, but you would just have to attach it to your phone via Bluetooth. But it's pretty cute, right? This little like retro speaker. I thought that's cool. And it seems like it's going to have like a decent sound to it since it does have that little, is that a woofer? Is that what's considered a woofer? I don't know, you guys. I don't know speakers, but I do like Bluetooth speakers. They're great to have, especially when you travel. I will probably pass that one on just because I have so many of them, but it's a cute gift and definitely a higher value gift than I think we get sometimes. Let's see, page, what's the next one? Oh, the big gift. The daffodil one on page 162. This one, it's a cute scene, but it doesn't really have that much to do with the plot or what happens. It says, after a moment, he glanced up at me, this is the grumpy bookstore owner, of course, and nudged his chin toward the pot. I think it's about to boil over. Oh, shit! I grabbed the pot holders and drained the spaghetti and then put it back into the pot with the marinara sauce. Prue, that's her best friend, would have been beside herself knowing that I didn't make it from scratch. She swore by this one celebrity chef's recipe, but all I liked from his cookbook was the lemon pie. As I finished up, Anders took out a bottle of red wine from another cabinet along with 2 wine glasses and poured us both a drink. I might have overestimated my cooking skills, I admitted, putting the pot of spaghetti between us on a trivet. I'm like, how do you ruin spaghetti? Because she let it boil for too long. So here we go. Oops. Almost lost one. I'm like, who wraps these? Like, who takes the time to wrap these? Okay, so we got this. I was very confused. It is an extendable colander. You can see it's all branded. Once Upon a Book Club, they had this printed. So rinse, drain, and dry. Extends from 14 inches to 19 inches to fit over most sinks. Use this over the sink colander to drain pasta, rinse fruits and veggies, thaw frozen food, or use as a dish rack to air dry utensils, cups, and small plates. So I'm very curious. I didn't actually open this up earlier. I was interested to see with all of you. I think I understand the concept that it expands to go over your sink. So if you don't have one of those really huge like laundry style sinks, which I know a lot of people do in their big fancy kitchens these days, this would probably work. Oh, it's actually still a hard colander. It's a lovely color, kind of a weird sagey green, almost mint like his eyes, which she calls mint and minty so often. So, you know, classic tropes. So this is what it looks like, just a colander, and then you can extend it, and then this little lip will sit across your sink. I actually think that's pretty darn cool. It seems like a pretty hard plastic. Maybe the holes might be a little big for, well, you're not gonna manage to get all the spaghetti straight down. So I think that would actually work. Huh. So you could just have it as a little tray for definitely dried. I like the idea of rinsing fruit in it. You could even, like, if you had a bunch of strawberries, rinse the fruit in it and then just, you know, put it on a paper towel or something in your fridge and just use that as your basket. Better than I thought. So it does have like a little knob right there. See this little bump? I don't know if you guys can see that little bump right there so that you can slide it. I don't know how long it'll last, but all right. I'm going to say this is my favorite gift. Not super exciting, but also like super functional. So, who knew? We've got one more gift to go. It is on page 215. Turned right to it. That's the nice thing about those sticky notes. And I'm trying to remember what it is. So this is actually a beautiful, you could totally imagine this in a romantic comedy moment. They go to this bell tower, right? Wait, please. His grip was gentle, and I turned back to him. The sun had set, and the oranges and reds were turning swiftly to purple and midnight blue as the moon grew brighter and brighter in the sky. Anders, I began, but he led me toward the edge of the bell tower and produced 2 pairs of earplugs from his pocket. I had a feeling that he hadn't gone to the hardware store just for the clasps, because this was too well planned, and that seemed just like him, through and through. Stoic and thoughtful and attentive, and even when he was grumpy, he made up for it. Put these in. It's almost time, he said, putting his own in, and I did too. The world quieted until I could only hear the blood rushing through my staccato heart. I opened my mouth to ask loudly what we were doing when he held his hand to his lips, and then, oop, something's gonna fall over here. All of the minute hands struck 12 at the same time, and behind us the bell pulled back and swung. Even with the earplugs in, the sound was so loud it rattled my bones. So, you know, they're in this bell tower listening to the bells, but he thought of bringing an earplug so that she could have this big experience. So here we go. We got some earplugs. I was like, if we get foam earplugs, it's a little fancier than that. So it says, turn down the world. So I guess you could use this as your little carrying case. Noise reduction earplugs. So I thought this was interesting. So you open it up like this, and then we have the different sizes. So, oops. I think there's a small, medium, and large, as far as I can tell, which most of us are used to. When you get your earbuds, they usually come with the 2 sizes. But as far as I can tell, there's small, medium, and large, or maybe there's definitely a larger size. And then I think these 2 are slightly different. I think there's small, medium, and large. Let me see. Oops, I'm trying to pull them out. Yeah, oh, these are different. So we have ones that look like this, like your earbuds, and then we have ones like this that are a little bit, they're stacked a little bit longer. So we have 2 different styles, and in this size, we have 2 different sizes. So I'm trying to, oh, actually, they're all different. Let me show you. So we have one with 2, one with 1, and one with 3. So you can decide how far it goes into your ear so you can get a nice snug fit. I hadn't pulled them out of the box. So 1, 2, like little snowmen. That's kind of cool. And then we do have this little carrying case is what I'm assuming it is. I think it's a little carrying case. And then it's just a little plastic carrying case. Oh, and then we have these, which is how you attach it. So you're going to go ahead and on the back of it, stick it in here. It's going to take a little finessing for me to do that, but you can always swap these out to find the right fit. But it is just like a really soft rubber, so I think I could do this. And then you're going to have these little pull tabs that you can, this is what's going to stick out of your ear on this side, this little part, so that you can actually make I wonder if these really work well, because I sometimes travel with a girlfriend who is a notorious snorer. So this is what it looks like. I plugged it in so that way you can have it go into your ear, and this is going to stick out, so it's going to be easy to pull back out, of course. But yes, she is a notorious snorer, and I have to sleep with earplugs in, and these seem like they might be a little bit softer. I usually sleep with like foam earplugs and then put headphones on over, but that's not always the most comfy thing. But these might be These might be the solution. All right, so that's kind of cool. I've never actually seen this style of earplug, but it does make sense to me. So that's a good one. Let me go ahead and read the little blurb from Ashley. That is it for today. Let's actually have a secret password. I know some of you were fretting because you didn't find it in the Roxbox video. Don't worry about it. It's just going to be novel. All right, so when you come across a secret password in one of my videos, you want to enter it along with your contact information in the Google form that is linked for you in the description box below. Please don't put it into the comments. You have to be 18 years or older, you have to be subscribed to my channel, and you have to have a US or Canadian mailing address. Today's secret password is novel. About 5 days after the giveaway entries close, so that's going to be around September 5th, I will use a random number picker to select a few winners to receive mystery boxes as my way of saying thank you for watching my videos in their entirety. And just as a reminder, it's not affiliated with YouTube or any of the boxes that I open here on the channel. I don't think I have time to read the whole thing, but let me see. Romance novels feel like home to me too. They're a comfort when the world is in chaos. You know that by the last page, the two characters are going to be together and they'll ride off into the sunset on their happily ever afters. I love that certainty. So I wanted to try to bring my two comforts together. And who here hasn't fallen for a book boyfriend? Who hasn't sighed over a kiss in the rain and wish it was you? Those were the feelings I wanted to explore. The yearning for a place, a moment, a set of words on a page that don't exist in real life, but are still, at the core of their truths, real. I love that. Okay, so I think we didn't actually get her first love. Romance novels and loving a story so much that you wanted to live in it. Oh, and she mentions The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Amen to that. All right, you guys, thanks so much for watching this video. I would appreciate your support. Don't forget there was that secret password, and I will see you all very soon in my next unboxing.